Hello folks, and welcome to the Anglers Xperience. Today I'm fishing with my brother-in-law, Joe Land. We've traveled down to California to fish with him this time. Last year he came up and did some smallmouth fishing. He gave me a call and said, you gotta come down, there's some big bass down here. So Mickey and I traveled 1,200 miles, took us 22 hours. We're a little bit sleepy, but we're gonna try to go out and get some more fish just like that. So you folks stay tuned. Yeah. That is an absolute beast. 35 pounds or so. It's a big, big fish. What a beauty. We're gonna put this fish back.
Yeah! That is awesome.
The Anglers Xperience is proudly sponsored by Crestliner, leader by innovation. Strike King Lure Company, #1 in fishing lures. Setter Rods, the American way. Sidewinder planer boards, fight the fish, not the board. Vibey Lure Company, blade baits for serious anglers. Tobler Marina, your one-stop boat shop. Easy Loader, all boat trailers are not created equal. Oxart, your single source supplier. Lincoln Electric, the welding experts. And Honda Marine, it's all about power.
Bleeding Bait Series by Strike King.
What is the biggest secret in the trolling industry today? The Sidewinder planer board. The patented through-hole design of the Sidewinder allows you to position your lure into undisturbed water, greatly increasing your ability to catch trout, salmon, steelhead, walleye, and all other game fish. The Sidewinder planer board can be easily deployed from a boat or a riverbank, port or starboard, with the use of a single board. With a built-in quick release, you fight the fish, not the board.
Okay, Raven, we are gonna get him today. Oh, I know you like that Crestliner, but we're serious today. And serious fishing calls for this Crestliner. The welded hull, tons of storage, comfy chairs, a console. We're set. Okay, fine. But I'm driving this time. Go left.
Mercury-powered Crestliners.
Go left.
Take control of your destiny.
Have you been looking for a fishing presentation that will work for all species regardless of the situation? Then drop shotting is the technique for you. We are proud to introduce Drop Shot Secrets Revealed. This 2-disc set includes 4 full-length episodes from the Anglers Xperience utilizing the drop shot technique, along with 2 hours of detailed instruction teaching you how to master the drop shot, including segments on gear selection, knot tying, bait selection, and secrets to bait modification. You can get your copy today at axfishing.com or from these other fine retailers. Drop shotting, truly a technique for all occasions. Nice spinnerbait bass. Spinnerbait fish. Nice chunky fish. Got an almost pinkish hue to him. All right, bud. Get you back in there. See you later. All right. See if we can get him eating the spinnerbait. No, I got him. He's just down in the weeds. Little one, guys. I thought he was a lot bigger than that, but he hit and took me right down into the weeds. He's progressive. There you go. Nice little guy. Tell you what, folks, he took me for a ride on that spinnerbait. Thought he was a lot bigger than that. He was just an aggressive one. Little dude. Little post spawner. All right, Bubba, go tell Mama to come out and play. Folks, when you're making a fishing trip to some place that you've never been before, and this place for us happens to be Lake Casitas in Southern California, what you want to do is do as much research as you can before you get there. And some of the tools that I use for my research, with the advent of the internet, it's a great tool. You can go to Google, put in Lake Casitas, California. It's going to pop up with a wealth of information for you. There's tackle shops that'll give you information. And one of the things that I do is newspaper clippings. Every Friday in the sports part of the paper, you'll find about the lakes in that area. And they're real update reports of what's going on. And with all of these tools that you use, you want to do things like find a map of the lake if they have it. Get as much information as you can so that when you go down there, you're prepared. One of the things that we're lucky with, I break the bank when it comes to fishing gear, and my boat is full of gear. And everybody thinks that, oh, you have all that gear because it's given to you. Well, I buy every cent of it, guys. I don't get any discounts. And you can ask my wife. She's a little frustrated with how much money I spend in tackle. But I'm lucky from that aspect because I have so much gear that when I go somewhere, I'm going to throw absolutely everything at them. And that's one of the things that you need to be aware of. Take as much as you can. Don't break the bank. Don't go broke doing it. But take everything you have, because there might be a situation where you come into a certain area and you need to have a certain bait, or you don't have that bait. You're going to be out of luck. One of the other things that I do as a tool, when I go down, I find the closest bait shop to say in a marina, or as close as I can to the lake. And what I like to do is I go in there and I'll spend some money, buying baits and tackle from them, and I'll buy all of it and I'll pay it for it, and then I'll ask them about it. And what happens a lot, I see it a lot when I go into tackle shops, is somebody will go in there and just ask for information and leave. Let's support these people. If you spend some money with them, they're going to give you the information that you need. And that's a very helpful tool. So if you're going to someplace you're not familiar with, get on the internet, do a search on it, Google search it. You can get newspaper clippings from that area if you have somebody in that area, like my brother-in-law Joe is down there, so he's sending me newspaper clippings back to research. And then when you get down there, go to the marina, spend some money. They'll help you out a bunch, and it'll make that trip much more fun for you. Oh, there's one right there. I got him, guys. I got him. Little male. All right. Boy, guys, we're catching them on everything today. The moral of this story is keep casting and keep trying. Fishing is tough, but we're getting a few. Got that one on a jig worm. For those of you folks that don't know what a jig worm is, let me show you here real quick. Basically, all I've done, let's put that fish back. What a beauty. Clean fish. All right. Let me show you what a jig worm is right here. Let me rig this one back up. All I've got here, and this works real good a lot of times when you get on these spawning beds like this, you can drop it right in their face and shake it. But what I've got, this is an 1/8 ounce head. These beds are a little bit deeper, so I'm running with 1/8 ounce. You might want to go down to 16th or 32nd ounce, depending on how deep of water you're fishing. But I want to get this right in the bed, and I want to shake it. And what we're using for a bait is this is a 6-inch slick-tail worm made by Berkeley, and this is their camo pattern. It's just kind of a natural pattern with some gold and red, but that's just an option for you. We're throwing Senkos, we're split shot in soft plastics like this, we're doing a variety of different things. I've never fished this lake before. Like I said, we traveled a long ways to get here. We're gonna do whatever it takes to catch some fish. Hopefully we're gonna get some big ones. She's most vulnerable right now. I got her. I got her, guys. Nice one. Nice fish, guys. Folks, you're not gonna believe how we pulled this one off. 6-pound test line here. You gotta go easy.
I'm liking that light today, aren't they?
Folks, what we did there is I took and I caught the male off the bed. I caught the male off the bed. So we got your line, Joe?
Yeah.
Let's get Joe's line off there. I caught the male off the bed, you guys. And then I went back because the male wasn't there. The female was going to guard it. I kept trying to get the male. So what I did is I pulled him off and I had Joe hold him in the net. And then I went back in there on the next cast, that female took it.
Nice one.
Go ahead and get her, Joe. Yep. All right, look at that, guys. Look at there. That fish right there, that jig head, I switched over from the slick tail worm. I pulled the male out, held him in the net. Then the female was guarding the bed. And what I did, I threw a little cinnamon crawdad on there. I got that girl right there. What a beauty. Beautiful fish, guys. All right, I want to get her back on her bed, guys. Let's put her back. We don't want these fish to get hurt while they're trying to spawn. We want to protect that gene pool. Thanks, darling. I appreciate it.
I dropped it in there. I felt it kind of pop. And I was like, what do I got?
Well, let me get back in those weeds, Joe.
Get this drag set on this a little too light. Don't want them to get in the weeds. Using light line. Yeah, he's not bad. Not bad at all.
Nice fish, Joe.
For a light line, that's pretty good. Yes, sir. That's probably one of the biggest bass I've caught.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice fish. Chunky, healthy.
Right on the lip, too.
Drop shot right at the top of the mouth.
Yep. He was barely in there, too. He's coming right out. Wow. That's nice.
Pretty fish.
All hunting, all fishing, all the time.
Let me introduce you to the Vibey lure. This revolutionary lure will give you the edge you've been looking for. The vibrating action of the Vibey is second to none and will catch all game fish, including walleye, smallmouth bass, largemouth bass, and crappie. Handcrafted in the USA with 6 sizes to choose from and 24 fish-catching colors, the Vibey gives you the selection to fit your needs. Whether you jig it, cast it, or troll it, the Vibey will get the job done. Vibey Lures, blade baits for serious anglers.
You know that Oxark sells quality welding products from Lincoln Electric. But I bet you didn't know those same quality products are available for rent for those weekend projects, like the SC-135. Great for those small ones. Not sure what size machine you need? Our highly trained staff will help in making that decision. Oxark rents all types of welding, cutting, and safety products. So for that big job or small one, Oxark has the rental equipment to get the job done.
Folks, if you're looking to catch the bass of a lifetime, you're going to catch it in Southern California. It's unbelievable down there. If you've got the time to go down and spend a week and put the effort in, you're going to catch that bass. We were only able to fish about 2.5 days. My goal when I went to California was to see my family. I don't get to spend a lot of time with my nephew and niece, and that's really what it was all about. But being that I'm a small business, I can't really afford to take much vacation, so we kind of turned into a business trip along with seeing the family. But what I want to do is I want to get you in with the timing, because we learned the hard way that we were off on our timing. Even with all the research that we had done, when we finally got down to the lake, after about a day, we realized we're a little off. But there's a phenomenon down in Southern California on these reservoirs for these large bass, and it's a swim bait phenomenon. And these baits right here represent rainbow trout, and this is what they're throwing for these big bass down there. And when we got down there, I spent about $300 on swim baits, because up here in Spokane, there's not a lot of stores that have big swim baits. Let's face it, when we go out and fish for trout, in a lot of our lakes, if we catch a trout that big, we're happy, let alone trying to catch a bass with it. So when I got down there, I spent a lot of money on these swim baits, so I'd have the right baits, got out, started using them. And as I was looking around me about halfway through the day, I realized there wasn't a lot of people doing this. They were all up shallow, and they seemed to be finesse fishing, spinning poles and such. And what we found was that after talking to some of the people at the boat ramps, and everybody's real friendly to us, and you know, if you're nice to them, they're going to talk with you, and you know, don't go up to them and just ask for information, just be polite about it, and they're going to help you out. And the locals, once they found out kind of what we were doing and doing the show and such, they started giving us some information about timing and such. And you go into these marinas down there and it blows your mind. I mean, there's pictures of 17, 18, 19 pounders on these picture boards, and you just start drooling. I want to catch one of those fish. Well, this rainbow trout swim bait phenomenon, if you're going to go down and do it, you want to be down there in the end of February through March. They start planting rainbow trout in there, and that's when these big bass just go absolutely crazy for them. So time it up. Go down end of February, sometime through March, and you're going to have a better shot at catching that 17-pounder on a bait like that. What we found was that I had to go back to what I knew. And what I knew is when I don't know something, I throw spinner baits. Spinner baits for me, they're a savior bait. We run a lot of different styles, sizes, colors. But what I found out was that there was a big shad run down there that was coming in. So white was the first pick for me. The willow blades enabled me to speed down the shoreline and cover a lot of water instead of versus a Colorado, which creates a lot of drag and you got to pull it a little slower. So always keep in mind, keep the spinner baits around. We had dreamed of the big fish on a bait like this. We ended up going back to what we knew, which was spinner baits. So always keep that in mind. Be prepared for that change. But if you're going to go to Cali, go down there end of February, you get one of those big fish, send me an email or a picture of it. I'd love to see it. Got him, Joe?
Yeah. He took that white Seiko.
All right, man, good fish. Good one, Joe. Nice fish.
We caught him on his mind.
Get him on the Senko, Joe?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think white's the color.
Yep. All right. Folks, what Joe and I are doing here, being that I've never fished this lake, I tried to do as much research on the internet as I could. And Joe doesn't have a boat, so he couldn't get out and check the water out for me. So we're kind of coming into this thing somewhat blind. And what's happened, we've missed the spawn, the true spawn, by about 3 weeks. We talked to some of the bait shops and they said we're a little bit behind. And in another 2 weeks, the shad come in and then there's a good shad bite. So what we're in between right now is we're in between a good bite and post-spawn. And post-spawn bass are some of your hardest bass to catch. And what we're doing is we're just going along the shoreline, and it's pretty easy to find people fishing on this lake. There's a lot of pressure on this lake. I'm not used to it being from the Northwest. We don't get a lot of pressure like they get down here in California, so a little different for me from that aspect. But what we're doing is we're just going along and we're working the shoreline with white spinner baits, and that's just kind of a shad imitation. And I've got the trolling motor on pretty high, and Joe and I are trying to cover a lot of ground so that I can learn the lake, and we're catching some fish on the spinner baits. The other thing that's important as we're traveling along, I've got a real good pair of polarized glasses on, and as we're going along, I'm constantly surveying the shoreline. And what I'm looking for is any bed where there might possibly still be a fish on it. And what we'll do is we'll go along, we'll spot a bed, we'll back away from it, I'll switch away from the spinner bait, and I'll go to a jig and pig setup, maybe a lizard presentation. We've got a variety of baits that we're throwing on bed fish. But that's all we're doing. If you get out on a lake that you're not familiar with, you always hear shows and they're talking about spinner baits, and some people go spinner baits. I never catch nothing with that. Well, it's a great bait to cover the water with, and at certain times of the year they really work great. But get out there, put your electric motor on about 50%, cook along the shoreline, chuck and wind, and you'll learn that lake pretty fast. There's one.
Got one, Seth?
Yeah, I got one, man. I got him. He's not a giant, but he's pulling hard. Ooh, he's in the brush. Man, oh man, they fight hard. Look at that little dude pulling like a truck. Pretty clear water. All right, Bubba. Beautiful little fish on the spinnerbait. All right. What? Double willow spinnerbait. Things are starting to get better, guys. We're going to keep plugging away. All right, buddy. Thank you.
Strike King's known to be the leading innovator in spinnerbait design, and we've created the perfect spinnerbait called the Premier Plus, and it features the perfect skirt. The perfect skirt comes with 80 strands that are molded to a center hub, which enables the skirt to bloom perfectly. The skirt never needs adjusting, and the colors flow from the nose of the bait all the way through to the tip of the revolutionary trailer tail. It even comes with a pre-rigged trailer hook. Add the perfect spinnerbait to your arsenal. Try the Premier Plus.
Honda exclusive, unprecedented, world-renowned. Stop and fuel your senses. Dual overhead cam, three-way cooling, lean burn feedback control, VTEC, and much more. Never before have you been able to step into the future so well equipped.
What is the biggest secret in the trolling industry today? The Sidewinder Planer Board. The patented through-hole design of the Sidewinder allows you to position your lure into undisturbed water, greatly increasing your ability to catch trout, salmon, steelhead, walleye, and all other game fish. The Sidewinder Planer Board can be easily deployed from a boat or a riverbank, port or starboard, with the use of a single board. With a built-in quick release, you fight the fish, not the board.
Folks, Joe and I have been down here fishing this lake for 2 days now. We had one day the weather was just foul. The fishing hasn't been real good for us, but we just came into a spot here about an hour ago and we spotted a big female still on her bed. And we've been looking for bedding fish, and most of the females have pulled off, but we found a big fish. We've been working on it for about an hour with no success. So what I'm gonna do here, I kind of made up my own jig and pig. I took a football head in a 3/8 ounce. I took a white spinnerbait skirt and a Berkley 4-inch curl-tail grub in white, and I'm going to go in there with light line. This is 12 pound. We've been using 17 plus. I'm going to go in there with light line, this little jig that I made, a light pull, and hopefully we can hook this fish. So let's see if we can get her. This is pretty exciting. All right, folks, we're back on her spot right here. She's guarding this nest. Let's just flip this guy right in front of her face here. Come on! Oh! Come on, Joe! Get her, baby! Get her, Joe! Holy smokes, guys! Joe! Holy cow, man! Oh, man! An hour later, guys. Folks, that right there, my friends, is the biggest largemouth bass that this old boy in the Northwest has ever caught. Look at the size of that fish, boy. Let's be careful with this girl. We don't want to hurt this big fish. It's back there. Okay. Folks, that fish is almost 10 pounds. Almost 10 pounds, guys. That is a big, big largie, guys. Folks, that is the biggest largemouth that I have ever caught. That fish is going about 9 3/4 pounds. An absolute sow. We've been working on it for an hour on this bed. Tell you what, I've never caught a largie like that in my whole life. You're witnessing something special. What a beast. All right, let's get her back. All right, folks, we're gonna put her back in the water. We don't want to hurt this big girl. She's trying to spawn, so let's get her back and take good care of her. That, folks, is what you call flipping for big, big bass. Well, Joe, I think we should call her a trip. Mickey and I got a long drive. We got about 22 hours and 1,200 miles to cover tomorrow morning, so probably best if we get a little bit of sleep. So, did you have a good time?
Had a blast. I'm glad you guys came down. It's always fun to see family.
Yep. It was.
And fishing and seeing family is a plus.
Yep, that's always a good thing. Yeah, if you can get them both, it's excellent. You know, if you can spend a little time with your family out on the water, that's what matters. We drove all the way down here to take Joe out because he came all the way up to see us and last time, so it was my time to return the favor. So, folks, we're going to head back home and get a little shut-eye so Nick and I can hit the road and get back to Spokane. So, as always, I want to thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you next week.
For a list of today's gear and techniques, log on to axfishing.com and select AX Journals.